Every year, on Anti-Slavery Day, the Modern Slavery Partnership for Hampshire and the Isle of Wight holds an awareness-raising event for different communities. One of the Modern Slavery Partnership members is the Hampshire branch of Stop the Traffic, an international anti-slavery charity.
Today's Anti-Slavery Day, October the 18th, and we're here in Portsmouth, Guildhall Square, to raise awareness about modern slavery and how easy it is to get trapped into it. There's been live presentations of 4 cases where people have been tricked into positions of slavery, and it's been very successful to stop people from going by too quickly so that you could actually talk to them and begin to tell them about how prevalent modern slavery is today.
I've really noticed a change since I first came across trafficking as a doctor, as a GP, when I had to do a postnatal check on a woman who was trafficked in one of the safe houses in Southampton and her baby. When we started trying to raise awareness, people didn't even think it was happening. I think now people know, but they don't know how will they spot it, what will they do, how do they report it. And lots of people today were really interested to say, we want to do something, we want to help, but we don't know how to. So I think we were able to get that message across, that there's a helpline, a free helpline. They can join as volunteers. There are a couple of young lads who wanted to come and join in the march tomorrow for freedom, which will go through Portsmouth. So I think it's been a really good day. And Lynn's had some chance to talk to people about your side of things, haven't you?
Yeah, so I'm Lynn Chitty and I work for Love 146 UK. Getting across to the general public that children are also trafficked, which was quite a surprise, and they are trafficked for all the reasons that adults are trafficked into the UK as well. So we work with victims of children up to the age of 25. We house them in safe accommodation, we put them into specially supported independent accommodation, and we make sure that we're with them for as long as it takes them to be safe and remain in the UK.
Trapping someone and holding someone in slavery is a criminal offence. And there's an estimate of about 136,000 people in the UK held in conditions of slavery. And that's according to the Global Slavery Index in 2019. 136,000 people is the equivalent of everyone who lives in Basingstoke, or over half of those who live in Southampton. But only 10,500 people were rescued from slavery in 2019. You may be surprised to learn that of the people who were rescued from modern slavery in 2019, over a quarter were actually British. Another common nationality is Albanian and Vietnamese. The Modern Slavery Act in 2015 pulled together all of the different types of human trafficking offence. And they include labour exploitation, sexual exploitation, domestic slavery, forced marriage, human organ harvesting, forced criminality, stealing, cannabis growing, drug running, which is often called county lines, and benefit fraud. Labour exploitation is the commonest form of human trafficking in the UK. An estimated 70,000 people are enslaved in this way. Most will have responded to an offer of a job, good pay, often with accommodation and other benefits. So they go with the trafficker and they find that it's a fake offer. Many of these will come from abroad, and often from countries that have few or no employment rights. So they may not realise that the grim conditions they find themselves in are actually against the UK law. And they probably don't know the language, so they have no idea where to turn to for help, nor do they know how they can escape. One of the commonest places we might spot labour exploitation is in hand car washes. But when we search for a bargain hand car wash, might we be encouraging labour exploitation without meaning to?
In 2018, concerns had grown to the extent that the House of Commons Environment Audit Committee held an inquiry into car washes. This is a summary of their findings. Hand car washes compete predominantly on costs and convenience of access, and this has led to widespread practices of undercutting labour standards and other regulation. Hand car washes have also been linked to non-compliance on environmental, health and safety regulations, non-payment of tax, VAT, income tax and business rates, lack of appropriate planning permission, poor accommodation for workers and modern slavery. The committee was told that the majority of hand car washes may have some illegality around them, but the regulatory system that is supposed to deal with this is not currently fit for purpose. One of the experts who gave evidence to the House of Commons Environmental Committee is Dawn Fraser, the founder of the Sandy Foundation and the Car Wash Advisory Service.
We're looking at the number of people on site versus what their lowest prices are, so that we can work out approximately how much they're actually taking as to whether they're either engaging in money laundering or modern slavery. And when we put that to a site owner of which do you want to be done for, very often at that point they'll go, okay, yeah, I am doing something wrong. Because the way we work, we allow them to draw a line in the sand and take it forward through the programme, as long as from that day on they behave themselves, and we work with them to ensure that they do.
In 2018, Sitar Ali, the owner of Shiny Cars in Carlisle, was arrested with 2 other co-defendants accused of modern slavery offences related to their Romanian employees.
I used to work in car wash before. Then I started thinking to do business on my own. So I want to be my own boss. I like to do car wash things because I think it's a basic job. You could just set up and do by yourself. First time starting your own business, getting a lot of roles which we didn't know back home. Compared to here, it's a lot different. We don't have a tax, we don't have VAT. You work for yourself, whatever you earn, you just keep it.
He'd been advised by his solicitor to find somebody to advise him on how to run his best business in a better way, but we do believe that there was a lot of bad advice, and we find that time and time again from companies. They get advice from their accountants or from their architects who just simply don't have enough knowledge to be able to advise them properly.
This is the staff area where the time they get 15-minute break in the morning, half an hour at lunchtime, 15-minute afternoon, and when it's quiet like these days, we sit here and talk and chill out. Sit book here. We give people who sits where they're needed, and also we do here cash pool. They put the card machine in the machine, and they can use a contactless, and also you give them receipts if they asking. So this is machine holder,
which means there is always a history of what payments are going in and out of the company.
Have you always used that?
No, before no. This money goes direct to business account, and every 3 months when the account is done, you've seen what's coming from the card and detected from there, so it's good.
The purpose of us coming into it was that to make sure that Sitar felt comfortable that actually he wasn't going to make the mistakes that may have been made before. There were things like the contracts weren't quite right. There were various health and safety issues that weren't right, and we've been able to help with that. Okay, so 1974 Health and Safety at Work Act.
So when we keep asking you about wearing high vis and wearing your gloves and your boots, the reason is because of this piece of legislation. Whilst you're at work, that you are responsible for your health and safety, the health and safety of each other, and also for the public. Okay, so it's really important that you look after yourselves when you're at work. So if you're given some high vis and you're given some boots and you're given the gloves, you have to wear them.
Sitar Ali resigned in June 2019 from his director position at the Shiny Car Wash. The legal proceedings against him were suspended in December 2019. Since his arrest, Sitar Ali learned how to run a legitimate business in the UK.
So we've seen how Sitar now pays his workers properly. He gives them breaks during the day. He provides them with protective equipment like boots and gloves and high-vis jackets. And he gives his customers receipts and they can pay by card if they want. None of these changes would have happened except for that he was investigated by the authorities and therefore came to realise that investing some of his profits to work with Dawn in order to get his business fully legal and treat his workers according to UK law was a good investment. The hand car wash industry at the moment is completely unregulated. Our research indicates that the relevant authorities tend to take action once they get enough information. That's why it's so important that you and I take note and report what we see. We know from reports we've read that information coming into the Modern Slavery Helpline and Crime Stoppers are acted upon. In 2019, the Modern Slavery Helpline had over 9,000 calls and online submissions, and these helped to identify over 1,800 cases of modern slavery. And that actually 365 were in hand car washes. A tool that has been designed specially to report on what you see in hand car washes is called the Safe Car Wash app, developed by the Clear Initiative under the Church of England. It guides you through what to look for as your car is being washed, so that it's easy to report and send it in so it can be combined with other information that helps build up a picture of whether labour exploitation is likely to be happening or not. I volunteer with the local group of Stop the Traffic, an international charity that fights modern slavery. Our group, together with other organisations in the Modern Slavery Partnership, work to help people learn how to spot signs of modern slavery and where to report it. This is so important because modern slavery is a very hidden crime, and so unless you and I see and report any signs we can, the police will not have enough information to be able to identify victims. Take note of what you can and then report the facts. This information will be combined with other people's, so by taking action you could well be helping to save someone from slavery, enabling them to have their life back.